why is everybody going so crazy in Atlanta, like in terms of arrests? Man, the crime in Atlanta been looking crazy, man. They're trying to compete with Chicago.
Yeah.
Everybody, then somebody broke it down to me. They said, yo, everybody's catching their cases or doing some dumb shit elsewhere, and Atlanta the meetup spot.
It's hard to put 28 eggs in a crate and shake all of them and none of them don't crack.
A lot of information concerning one of our witnesses, basically on a TMZ type outfit in social media. We've had to put one witness in isolation and protected custody.
And they're gonna find out who's telling before, and then the law enforcement is gonna, the DA is gonna be like, how's people knowing this? And people are finding this out.
Hey yo, squad, what's the drill? Back with another video, man. When we talking about rap and the origins of it, we could say that it originated as a result of the stress and strife and beef that permeated through the hood at the time. However, with that comes a criminal element that also mutated into a gang element, which ultimately turns rap into the means to tell a story of a person or a group within these street organizations. It is in this way that Jeffrey Lamar Williams, also known as Young Thug, found his way to success with other rappers from his labels such as Gunna and others. But as usual, brothers don't know how to not abuse their power, and they get sloppy by telling on themselves and each other. An 88-page indictment that includes lyrics to your songs, people in your crew already talking to the feds. Man, this can't be life. Well, that's exactly what Thugger and other members of YSL are facing during this trial. Safe to say, things are getting real slimy for the slimes. And in the courtroom, the judge and the jury are the only ones that can wipe noses around those parts. So today, we break down how the self-snitching curse always ends up rearing its ugly head, and how young slime life might just be young snitching life when things are all said and done. So without further ado, let's skip the play and get down to business. Originally from Atlanta, Young Thug was making his way through the neighborhoods of his city, putting out some of the most innovative and unique styles of rap we had ever heard since 2012. Working his way up to being a trendsetter and one of the most successful and recognizable rappers of his era. Even going on to build a powerhouse of a label with YSL known as Young Stoner Life, with some of the biggest names in this newer generation of rap, such as Gunna and Lil Keed, R.I.P. However, recently, as of late, Thugger has been getting recognized by the wrong people for the wrong ish. He hasn't been the only one under the radar either. 26 other members or associates of the label have been charged with violating the Rico Act. Thugger was arrested May 9th, 2022 and booked into Fulton County Jail. This has been quite a controversial and polarizing issue that has been making headlines on social media as well as mainstream news outlets. Thug is facing serious accusations. This due to the fact that his record label is also linked to the street gang that also has the same name as the same acronym, YSL, which began its alleged illicit operations since 2012 and is affiliated with another much more dangerous group known as the Bloods. Gunna is also one of the accused, this one for being part of the record label and violating the Rico law. On one hand, Yak Gotti is also seriously accused of being one of those responsible for the hit of Donovan Thomas Jr., aka Big Nut.
A. Duke and Diamante Kendrick, aka Yak Gotti, have both pled not guilty to the May indictment, as has Williams.
Donovan was a member of a rival gang. Prosecutors also alleged that several of the YSL members were working under Young Thug's permission in an attempt to take out YFN Lucci, all while he was in Fulton County Jail. See, this is where the snitching comes in. YSL member Lil Woody has recently been in hot water in these internet streets with reports that old boy was telling. Some paperwork started circulating stating that Kenneth Copeland, aka Lil Woody, was an eyewitness. It states that Woody was with Young Thug when he rented the car that was used in the hit on Donovan. He says that he was in a McDonald's parking lot right after the event took place. That's when Young Thug pulled up in his own white Jeep and the suspects got out of the car. Yak Gotti, SB, and Scarface to name three of them. Scarface will confirm with detectives that he was with Young Thug when Young Thug okayed the hit, and Yak Gotti will get some attention due to the info being released that he was interviewed by police and admitted to a crime involving some straps. However, in the midst of his coming clean, he also happened to mention his homeboy Lil Duke by telling detectives that he owned the gun but gave it to Lil Duke for him to commit a crime. That's crazy, yo. The bit of information was from years ago and didn't involve the YSL indictment. However, the fact that Gotti mentions Lil Duke had intentions to go commit a crime with a strap that he gave him gave the feds more ammo against Duke in the Rico indictment, which is wild. If Thug's guilt is proven, he could also be given a little more than what the Rico law guarantees, which is 20 years and a fine of $250,000. This could even mean a life sentence if the connection with the hits done by the gang is also proven, since the prosecution has him as the mastermind of all the crimes committed. Even Lil Wayne himself is mentioned, whose tour bus was shot at in 2015, allegedly by a YSL affiliate. But if you're wondering why he wasn't charged from the beginning of this with his gang, it's because the state was putting together an indictment with over 56 crimes, which makes up an 88+ page document that uses Young Thug's lyrics as factual evidence, and all of these are crimes reflected in the Rico. Prosecutors also claim that they have evidence that the young rapper has attempted several homicides, as well as being a part of Donovan's hit for allegedly renting the sedan that was used in the incident, along with ice distribution, among other illegal substances. However, I'm sure you're wondering, what constitutes violating Rico laws? In order to convict the defendant of violating Rico laws, the government must prove a number of things beyond a reasonable doubt, such as that a criminal enterprise existed, that the defendant was involved in organized crime, and that the defendant was a party to at least 2 criminal acts in the course of the unlawful activity. Evidence that, according to the prosecution, Thug handed over on a silver platter, and even more so when from his cell phone he called to rent the vehicle that was a part of Donovan's hit. Young Thug's legal team denied all of their charges against him.
I'll tell you, the response to any allegation is Mr. Williams committed no crime whatsoever, and we will fight to my last drop of blood.
Here's what the lawyer had to say. On August 9th, to all 56 charges already against the rapper, the prosecution filed a new indictment against him. According to the office, the changes are against Thug and 4 other defendants in the connection with the arrest made on March 17th and May 9th of this year. Many of these new charges stem from evidence authorities recovered during the search of Thug's Georgia home following his arrest in May. It all took place in one of Atlanta's most upscale neighborhoods, Buckhead. These new charges Thug faces includes 2 counts related to criminal street gang activity, 3 counts of violation of Georgia's controlled substance law, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a machine strap.
The DA's office says the new charges are against Young Thug and 4 other defendants and arose from arrests in the case March 17th and May 9th, and that many of the new charges against Young Thug and 2 of the other defendants stem from what the DA's office and Atlanta police found in Young Thug's home on Allison Drive in Buckhead the night of his arrest in May. A new gang charge.
In a new motion filed by the rapper's attorney, Brian Steele, he says his client has been placed in solitary confinement and he's been alone in a cell with no window or access to light, and that at the very least, he should be allowed bail. Unfortunately, it looks like he will be stuck in the Fulton County Jail for a while. These rappers were denied bail requests as the presiding judge declared them as a flight risk.
Will be decided later, but at this point in time, under Title 17 and under the case law that's been argued thus far, I am not going to grant bond at this point in time. Bond will stand denied.
During a press conference, Fulton County prosecutor Fonnie Willis said that getting these 28 defendants off the street will help keep the community safe.
It does not matter what your notoriety is, what your fame is. If you come to Fulton County, Georgia, and you commit crimes, and certainly if those crimes are in furtherance of a street gang, that you are going to become a target and a focus of this district attorney's office, and we are going to prosecute you.
She also commented that 80 to 90% of the criminal acts committed in Atlanta during that period were by YSL. Despite having a very well-argued case, the rapper has one of the best lawyers in Atlanta, who also filed appeal after appeal to stall for time in search of mitigating factors or flaws in the prosecution's investigation to get Young off. However, this has not gone unnoticed by the feds, who have requested that this attorney stop representing the rapper because he has previously represented other members of the crew. This request was denied by the judge in charge of the case, but will this mean a victory for Thug? We don't know, but I think it's not that simple. One thing I do know is that Fonnie Willis is playing no games and has a clear-cut target on hip-hop. She is on a mission to get rappers locked up, and some don't even blame her. She is motivated by the premise that if a rapper is dumb enough to rap about what they do in the streets or even allude to their dirt, she will use it against them.
I don't think that it will be successful. I think if you decide to admit your crimes over a beat, I'm gonna use it. I have some legal advice. Don't confess to crimes on rap lyrics if you do not want them used, or at least get out of my county.
Is this a muddy subject? Sure, but one thing's for sure, the self-snitching curse is only getting worse by the day. So some who don't necessarily support Fonny on her mission can also support the idea that rappers need to switch up what they are talking about on a street level. Just days ago, Fonny held a press conference to announce a new Rico indictment on the Drug Rich crew.
What today's indictment is about is the Drug Rich gang, which is a hybrid gang, and it started back in 2016. That's how far we can document this gang existing.
In the indictment lies numerous charges that nobody wants to be attached to. 16 charges total tied to 26 defendants. Things are really getting real at this point. But that's for another video. Leave a comment if you want us to do one on this situation. Within the past few months, it has been discovered that there are 2 people cooperating in the YSL crew. This thanks to linked information from their statements. It is presumed that one of the cooperators was Kenneth Copeland, aka YSL Woody. District Attorney Willis affirms that they are looking for a person who leaked the information because it means great danger for the people involved and puts at risk everything that they tried to work for. There is even talks of threats to the families of these people.
In that vein, Kristen Nove on behalf of Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Kitchens objects to the state proceeding via proffer. We want to know what specific threats there are. For example, if something's posted on social media and a witness says, somebody comments, "That's ridiculous, somebody should push you off a cliff." That's very different than a direct threat to the witness.
Let's remember that being a snitch in the game is nothing to be taken lightly. Now they will be isolated in their cells with maximum security and their family will be protected for the duration of the trial. Anyway, this all makes Young Thug look bad since he is recognized as the leader of the whole crew. If there are threats being made by the gang, it can be made to be taken for granted that Young Thug himself gave the orders. Right now, the only silver lining is that while there has been talks of snitching, there's recently been talks about witnesses not cooperating. This was confirmed by a reporter during Fonny's last press conference.
We've seen a lot of delays, from people not wanting to testify, and even some people who originally were willing to testify, now filing to be delayed. Do you think this is part of a general tactic to push it as far past the election as possible by certain people?
It is believed that the sudden lack of cooperation is a strategy to basically buy time in hopes that if Fonny leaves, the next DA will then come in and be a little more lenient. Not a bad move on their part, whoever they are. Needless to say, things will be quite interesting going forward. Now let's analyze. Would this case even exist if people moved better and kept their mouths shut about the dirt them and their crew did? Would any of these crimes have happened if the suspects knew what they were getting themselves really into? Kinda make you go, don't it? At this point, only time will tell what the future holds for Thugger and YSL, so set your watches. It is estimated that this trial will be over by January 2023. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, and all of that. Appreciate the love, and I'm out, y'all.